All right. Are you guys ready for the most difficult to understand segment we have ever done on the show? And that is the game that was the biggest surprise to you. I know you might be thinking, how is that different than the game you've played the most or your favorite game? Well, let me tell you how that's different. This is different because this is the game you came into going, oh, there's nothing about this game that excites me. It looks like garbage, or I've heard horrible things about it, or Randy recommended it, any of those things. And all of a sudden you play that game and you're like, hey, that was actually a good time. Maybe not my favorite game ever, but I was expecting this and I got that. That's a big surprise. So this is our surprise game of 2024, not necessarily a 2024 game, just one we played this year. And I will follow the rules, and I'm going to start this. And I am going to start it.
Well, thank you, Daniel. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Oh, wait, you're not throwing it to me. I'm sorry.
I am not. So my game is Faiyum. Freedom and Freeze. So it was a 2020 game. So Faiyum is a...
Did you call him Freedom and Freeze?
I called him Friedman and Freeze.
Freedom and Freeze.
Freedom. How do you say it? I'm bad with names. I thought
Friedman.
Friedman. Okay, whatever.
You said Freedom and.
Yeah, who knows? I said Freedom Man.
Freedom
I think he's a
Man.
superhero.
I think we should start referring to his game as Freedom Games.
That's right.
You remember Freedom Fries?
That's
All right. Well, this game...
Anyway.
So, Ethnos notoriously has this ugly map where Faiyum has this one beat, guys, because it is just this blah map with nothing on it but colors. But on it is seated different resources, and you're picking up those resources and you're building buildings, and you're doing this by simply playing a card down on the table. Where the catch is on this is you have to play another card to pick up those cards. But unlike a lot of games that do this, you could only pick up like an X amount. Like I think it's based on, I forget what it's based on, but you're only picking up like at the most 6, and you're kind of taking a penalty with that. So as the game progresses, you get more cards to do more actions, and that line of actions becomes longer and longer, and you're always thinking, oh no, when am I going to play that card to pull them all back? So you're thinning out your hand so you don't have an excess in your hand to play, all while trying to get the best action that's come up in the flow. And some might call this a rondelle game. I know I would never call it a rondelle game, but it's definitely a rondelle game in the fact that you are playing actions, you're moving up, and you can't take that action again until you come back around by picking them up. So, Faiyum, it was a good game. Randy also recommended it. Good job, Randy.
Well, if you're not calling it a rondelle, nobody is. So don't worry about that.
Well, I'm just saying, I've heard some people call it
No,
that.
you haven't.
I mean, I've heard it.
I've heard it. Rondelle requires
All
a
right.
board that you do.
John, tell me about your...
Well, I will
surprise
say I
game.
was with that. I played Faiyum with you, and that was a surprise that I enjoyed it too. But that's not my surprise of the year because I have more faith in Randy, I guess, than you do. And so it doesn't look like much, but it must be something.
How there's a art on the back. It's just a giant printing of one of the images.
That's right. We got to pause it real quick. I'm sorry. Start his time again. The best part about Faiyum is there is one piece of art. It is whatever's on the cover, guys. Right. It's on the cards. It's everywhere. On the back of the board. It is everywhere. There's one piece of art in the entire game. Very impressive.
Yes. That's pretty much it.
Okay. Sorry, John. Go ahead.
That's all right.
Sorry to interrupt.
I had many nominees for this award, and some people are going to go home without a trophy, and they're going to be devastated. But
Not again.
ones that I had in there, one of them was Millie Fiore, which I had played with Kelly, a friend of the show, been on the show as a contributor, because this one just looks like the most random action abstract game you can play, and it is. But it is quite entertaining. I was more entertained than I thought I would be. River of Gold is another one, and that's actually a 2024 game. And it wasn't the game I thought it would be. It was actually a lot more fun than I thought it would be. I think Daniel had the opposite reaction. But River of Gold I thought was going to be pretentious and not very fun. But it was actually fun and looks great on the table. District Noir, which was my most played game, was a surprise that it was that good to me. But none of those won. The big winner was taught to me by our good friend, the good father, Kent O'Connell, who... O'Connor. A friend of mine calls him O'Connell all the time, and it slipped in. That he offered to teach at a monthly game night one time, and if he hadn't offered to teach it, I would have never played the game Tapestry, because I had no intentions of ever playing this game, despite the fact Andy recommends it highly, and it just looked like a themeless, long mess. and it has a theme. The theme is very thin, but the
come on.
gameplay makes up for it. The gameplay is very good. How you can, and plus with the Tapestry, it's a little misleading where you Tapestry, you think we got to do everything because it all interlocks together. You don't really have to. You can lean in a direction and kind of shade in another direction and still do really well in this game. You don't have to just, well, I got to do something on this track, then I got to do something on that track, then I got no, you don't have to do that in this game. You can kind of pick and choose your own way you go. You've got different starting whatever it is that gives you an advantage going one way or another. And so that kind of gives you some direction maybe that you can ignore or not. But Tapestry, 2 thumbs up. That was a great game, and that was my biggest surprise.
It is a good game.
I haven't got it at the table.
It is a good game, and it does have a theme, you idiot.
I said it has a theme. It's just veiled. It's like it could be anything.
It's not veiled. There's different tracks, one for science and one for technology and one for
they all work identically.
Military. No,
they have different rewards.
They have different things on the different tracks. It's a Civ game.
Right. They have different pictures.
And you can start with different civilizations that do different things. It's very thematic.
But
Ridiculous.
can't you like invent the plane before you invent the car in that game? Like I heard
because
that's
in
the biggest
theme you can do that.
Yeah.
It's called time travel.
Yeah. That wasn't invented yet.
Ever heard of it?
That came later.
All right, Chris, I'm excited to hear about what your biggest surprise is. I'm guessing it's something that looks beautiful.
Or was it something you thought would be good that really, really sucked?
It's true. No, that's not the case. But you know what? My biggest surprise of 2024 shouldn't have been. It really shouldn't have been.
Intriguing.
It comes in a unique and visually pleasing box, John.
Banana
Nice.
Creams.
It is by a famous designer, one that I like a lot. No, it's not Mr. Bowtie. And you know, he's had one game that just is incredible, and a bunch of other ones that people kind of are like, eh. He's known for that box size, and this is a crossover with Daniel. It is Faiyum. And the funny thing is, I don't know how I didn't think I was going to like this game. Now, I guess partially I kind of somewhat bought into the fact that overall people kind of panned it when it first came out, and largely a lot of his games have been panned since Power Grid. As a whole, it's just kind of like, oh, it's another Freedom of Freeze game. It's not very good. I have 504. Again, it's more of a concept than a game, but that's another story. So I was like, oh, it's another Freedom and Freeze game that's kind of fallen flat on its face. And Randy say, hey, we should play it. I'm like, okay, fine. Well, let's play this or whatever. And yeah, it's beautiful for all the reasons that Power Grid is beautiful. It is like the cards that you build, kind of build your deck with, so to speak. It's more hand management than deck. It's kind of hard. It's an in-between kind of thing. But like that whole thing is they come out randomly. Absolutely. Just like the power plants in Power Grid. Now there's a little more linear in the Power Grid than in Faiyum. Faiyum, it's really random. You could have cards come out early that are like super late game great, and then vice versa. And because of how the cards come out, it vastly changes the way each play is, which is something I'm always a huge fan of, how every play is determined based on how things come out. But yeah, like that coming out can vastly change the game. It's very largely simple, kind of like Power Grid. Again, Power Grid seems like it's difficult on first glance, so to speak, but it's actually pretty simple, and so is Faiyum. So yeah, like again, it was a surprise for me, but again, after looking at it, I totally should have been surprised, because it really is just kind of another iteration of Power Grid, and it's fantastic. The game's fantastic. I love it.
Well, there you go. That's like 3 recommendations for that game. So if you haven't checked out Faiyum, you guys should definitely check it out. It's really fun.
Just another hit by the quality team, Friedman and Freeze.
That's right.
Yeah.
Freedom and Freeze.
Freedom and Freeze.
Freedom and Freeze. They'd make some good games.
I have
All
yet
right,
to...
Andy. I am. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You haven't played Faiyum yet?
I have not played Faiyum yet.
Oh,
so.
You need to play it. I think you'll like it.
Yeah, Andy would like that game.
Yeah. It has nothing to do with Power Grid, and I think, the shades, the colors might bring you back, PSTD or something like that, because it's very
PTSD,
similar.
but close.
Whatever, dyslexic, it's fine.
PlayStation touchdown.
You just said dyslexic wrong, too. That's great. You know you're dyslexic when you can't say dyslexic. All right.
Go.
Yeah, I'm just going to go. So So I had it's funny. I had a different game picked out, but again, I didn't understand this topic because I never understand your topics half the time, John. The game I had picked out
So confusing.
was Planet Unknown because it was a surprise game that I just didn't know about and really enjoyed playing it. But it wasn't something that I was like, oh, I don't think I'm going to like this. It just was kind of out of nowhere. And so the one that I played that I was like, oh, I'm not going to like this, that I found myself strangely liking is a co-op. What? A cooperative game. Do you know what it is?
I do.
I know what two it could be.
It's the game Tom Vassell trashed to your face.
No, it's not
No, I
that
think
one,
it's
actually.
Gang.
Oh, it's
Because
not.
I think
Okay.
I was first introduced to that one last year, maybe.
Oh, you're
Maybe.
I think this is a game
That's
that
Flight
Vassal
Team.
actually
That's
really
Flight Team, by
likes,
the
in
way.
fact.
Sky Team, not
Sky
Flight
Team.
Team.
Okay. But what's
Anyway,
yours? I
But
know what
mine
it is now.
The Gang. It's a simple little game. You almost don't even need the components of the game, although I recommend getting them just to award the designer because it's a clever game. But it's basically you're playing Texas Hold'em together, and so way back in the old days, the olden days before board games, I was into simple games like Risk and Texas Hold'em, and I played a lot of Texas Hold'em, and I loved it, and I enjoyed it, and I still enjoy playing it occasionally. So this game, you are working together. You're all dealt your two cards like in Texas Hold'em, and you're working together trying to talk as much as possible. You can't talk about specifics about what you have, but you can kind of give hints to see, and you're guessing who has the best hand as it comes out. So you've got the initial cards that are dealt, and then you have to kind of decide between you guys who's got the best hand. So if you've got pocket aces, obviously you're going to argue for, like, I've got the best one. If you've got, if you've got
7-2 offsuit.
5-8 offsuit, yeah, something like that. Exactly, 7-2 offsuit. You're going to probably argue that you have the lowest hand. But anyway,
6-3?
So there's arguing in this game? That's why you like it.
That's why.
not arguing, discussion. Anyway, so you do this as the cards continue to come out. So then there's the flop, and then you again discuss who thinks they have the best hands and have things shifted. And then you get the turn, same thing, and then the river. And the only time it really matters if you get it in the right order is on the river. Once everything's out, you have to successfully predict who's got the best hand to worst hand. And it's really a lot of fun. It was surprisingly a blast discussing that, and it kind of got into the tactics of Texas Hold'em, and it was fun to play. Can't complain.
cool.
Plus, I got to bring up old jokes that I had about Texas Hold'em, because there's all kinds of jokes about the different types of hands you might get. So if you get what is it? If you get
Pocket aces is Anna Kournikova. Or no, it's AK. That's
no, it's the ace. That you stole my thunder. The ace king offsuit is the Anna Kournikova.
Yep.
Because
All right.
it looks great and plays terrible.
Wow.
But anyway, a lot of fun with that one, the gang, and highly recommend it.
Yeah, and since Andy had mentioned Planet Unknown at first as being a surprise because he didn't know about it, I wanted to mention one that I forgot to, and this is two games. One is Lords of Baseball. John found it on the Gen Con list, and we actually went and hunted it down. Really cool game. So that one was surprising, also because the cover looked horrible as well. Like, they really should have done something different with the cover. And the other one, this is a shout out to our producer Randy, Solar Quest. He finally got us to play Solar Quest this year, and you know what, it's Monopoly in space, and it wasn't horrible. Like, it was actually enjoyable to play. Like, I don't know if it was still a good game, but it was actually a good time, and I would play it again. So
I
Solar
almost
Quest
picked that as my surprise for the giggles, but I was like, no, I can't even do that. I got to go with a real game.
Oh.
No, but it's legit. Like, I liked the game. It was fun. Like, for being Monopoly Space, it is fantastic. But
imagine
I was just like,
Monopoly with
I
an
got to pick a
ending.
game that people will respect, so to speak, right?
No, so because here you played it, it's like Monopoly with an ending, so that's a plus.
Correct.
And lasers, you get to shoot each other with lasers.
It is true.
So there you go. Everything you wanted in a Monopoly is
It's an
in
old
Solar
silly game,
Quest.
but a lot of fun. Right.
All right,
Laser.
Laser.
All right, guys. So let us know in the comments what game surprised you this year. Was it an old gym that a friend was just begging you to play, or was it something that you found at Gen Con? What was that game that was just a big surprise and you're glad you got it played? Let us know, and then also comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff.